Hello friends, welcome to another amazing weekly market breakdown. My name is Sibusiso, and in this week I will share with you an update of EURUSD and USD-JPY. That is the pair that we took last week. And then later on I will follow by an analysis of the three pairs that we have brought for this upcoming week. This is what I do every week to help you understand the market easily and simply. So if you are new to the channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss it when another video gets uploaded. So without wasting any further time, we're gonna go into our charts. So starting off, we're gonna start off with the EURUSD. So if you quite remember, last week we had our analysis here where this area is our resistance, and we anticipated that the market is gonna drop when it gets there. But what happened was that on the Monday, when the market opened, it pushed to the upside, which then confirmed a breakout to us of the all-time correction there. If you remember, the market here had an impulse correction and it was impulsing, and then what we anticipated earlier on last week, we anticipated that the market was changing the trend. But here, as you can see, the market only pushed to the upside to break this downtrend here. So now what do we see now? We see that for this week we're anticipating that the market is gonna create this correction. As you can see, it has already created for the week. So this was an impulse to the breakout, and then now it's starting to correct. So what are we anticipating for the upcoming week? Are you anticipating that EURUSD, as you can see here, it had impulse, correction, impulse, and then it started to correct here, and then now it impulsed a bit. So now we're anticipating that the EURUSD is going to correct a bit here, and then it's going to push to the upside up until it gets there, and then it's going to come back later on, and then once it comes back later on again, it's going to then push to break the correction, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying that now for this upcoming week, as you can see here, we had an impulse right here. See here, it impulsed to the upside. This was the impulse correction to the downside. Then now it broke that impulse, and then now what it's doing is it's doing what we call the retest or the pullback. So now we're anticipating now that for this week, should the market create this type of a pattern, right, that's when we're gonna take our buys here, and then we put our stop loss. Remember, don't risk more than 30 pips. So you're just gonna put it here, right? And this is gonna be our take profit there. So as you can see here, let's just move it a bit here just to make sure that our risk to reward ratio is fine. Okay, as you can see here, we're risking about 20 pips, 19.6, but then we're getting what? We're getting 3.01 pips. So that is basically for this week. And then now during this week, we're anticipating that this is going to be our first entry, right? Push to the upside up until it gets there, right? Now when it gets there, should it reverse there? So if it reverses, we're going to take that sell also, because now we are anticipating that it's going to reverse for the third touch here. So it's going to be a buy and a sell, and then once it gets here, and it's going to be a swing buy now. So now the swing buy, we know that we're going to push it up until the breakout. So that's going to be our first take profit, and our final take profit is going to be the swing to that area there. As you can see there's going to be the TP there. So that is all for EURUSD. Then now we're going to try and see an update on USD-JPY. So now USD-JPY, this is what we have right now. So on USD-JPY, we had also an analysis anticipating that the market was going to drop, right? And then after dropping, it was going to push to the upside. So as you can see here, we had this correction. So we see that the momentum here, it's pushing to the downside, as you can see there, right? And then it broke this trend line. It made a change of a trend line. And then now if you look in the line chart here, you see this is some type of a correction. So it shows that the market is still willing to push to the downside up until this area first. So this is our 90% rule. So right now we see that the market is still moving there, right? We had a correction there, then that's when it broke the correction. So what are we anticipating right now? So we anticipating that USD JPY it's gonna correct, right? It's gonna correct there, right? Should it correct here, then that's when you can safely take the buys. But this is not the pair that you're gonna take for this week. It's just an analysis and update for the analysis that we had. We only gonna take our buy once we can clearly see, because right now it's not clear the type of a correction that it's doing right here. So we can only take the buy if the market should maybe drop up until it gets these areas here. So if it can drop and get to those areas, or maybe this one here, let's just put this one here. So if we can get to these areas here, that's when we're gonna look for our buys, right? And that is all for USD JPY. So now we're gonna quickly go to the break, and then after that we're gonna come back and give you the market analysis for this week.
Have you been struggling with understanding how prices move in the market? Well, that struggle ends with Lone Trade FX. Lone Trade FX is an online trading course that provides you with sessions that are short, simple, and easy to understand. With the study guide summary, you get to understand what you're about to learn before the session of each video on the course. To get our course, all you have to do is to go to the Lone Trade FX website. Click on LT course. Fill in your info, make the payment. Once done, an email will be sent to you with the link that will direct you into the video session. It's that simple. Visit our website and start your journey to success. Lone Trade FX, the simple way to study and trade the Forex markets.
Okay, alright, so we're back from the ad. So now we're gonna continue with the weekly analysis. So I've already mentioned earlier, the first analysis for this week is gonna be the Euro USD. As you can see here, as I've mentioned earlier, so that we're gonna wait for the correction, that when the market opens, we're gonna wait for the correction, or nice one that might happen is the pullback to this point here. So this might be the nice one here, and that's gonna be our take profit there. So we can get 70 pips actually. Let me just see in the line chart here. Okay, now let's move it to this one here. So it's about 64 pips, and you can see that we're risking not much, so we can just risk 20 pips just to give it the space to breathe. You can just do that. As you can see, our risk to reward ratio is 1:3.18. Then now, so that could be the nice one if it can just push to the downside, just to create the last part here, that is doing what we call the double bottom. So let me just get the tool for the double bottom here. Let's see if I can find one here. That's it. So it's gonna be something like that. Is that it? Looks like it. Yes. So if it can create something like that, right? So this is basically our double bottom, something like that. So if you can get that, then that's when we can safely say that everything is gonna be fine, and that you're gonna get our entries nicely. Let me just remove all this. Okay, so basically this is what we're gonna anticipate for Euro USD. So now we're gonna move on to the second pair for this week, and that is GBPUSD. So with GBPUSD, we're gonna go to a 4-hour time frame, and just to send an analysis. As you can see here, we had an impulse to the upside, right? Impulse to the upside, and then now we started to correct. So now, as you can see, it respected that area there. GBPUSD, it respected that area. So now what are we anticipating? We're anticipating that this type of a correction is an ascending type of a correction, and as you all know that an ascending correction means that the market is going to push to the downside, right? So this is what we're anticipating right now. So right now we're waiting for Euro USD to do actually two things, right? So for GBPUSD, sorry, we're anticipating that it can do two things. As you can see here, it's still doing some sort of a correction. So we're anticipating that GBPUSD is gonna start to correct here, right, when the market opens, and push to the upside, right? Once it reaches that third touch there, that final touch there, that's when we're gonna enter our sales, right? So that's when we're gonna enter our sales, then that's where we're gonna target our profits. So right now, when the market opens, So when the market opens, this is what we anticipate. We anticipate that for GBPUSD, it's going to push to the upside, and then once it gets there, it's going to correct, and then after that, that's when we're going to enter our sales there, because we can see that it's the change of a trend, and then we're going to put it up until we get there. So this is going to be our first entry. Then should this play out the way that we anticipated, right, then break out here, then that's when we're going to wait for our pullback, right? Then that's when we're going to add more entries up until we get there. So that is for GBPUSD for this upcoming week. But if you like to take the scalp trade here on a Monday when the market opens, you can safely take the scalp here, because this one here is going to be a nice scalp. See, it's an impulse, then it's going to start to correct. Then now once it breaks the correction, it's going to push up until it gets this area. So this is where you can just target your scalp up until it gets to these areas here. Let me just put that. So that's going to be the one for the scalping. So that is all for GBPUSD. Now we're going to move on into our last pair for this week, and that is GBPJPY. So now looking at GBPJPY, we're anticipating the same thing for the same thing that we did on GBPUSD. Actually, you can see that on our daily time frame, we had a push to the upside, or better one here, I can just say that we had a correction there, right? As you can see, we had some sort of a correction, and then it pushed to the downside, correction, push to the upside, correction now. So right now we see this is like some type of a trend, some type of a deeper ascending correction, right? This deeper ascending channel. So what we anticipate is that, as you can see here, that GBPJPY is doing some deeper correction, but in overall you can see that this is a bullish momentum, right? It's a bullish momentum. So if you can look at this trend line here, just look at it as our trend line that we're on a uptrend. But what we are going to focus on is these areas here. As you can see here, we have our correction there. So you see, after it made the correction, it broke to the downside, then now it created the pullback, right? So after creating the pullback, what we're anticipating that the market is going to push up until it gets to these areas, respecting that resistance now, but as what is a support. So that's for GBPJPY. So our entries, as you can see here, it pushed to the downside impulse, then it corrected, and then now it's about to push to the downside again. So when the market opens again, we wanna wait for it to create this type of a correction, or the safer one is to create a pullback to these areas here, to these areas right there. That one is going to be the much more safer one, and we're going to put our risk to 30 pips, and our reward is going to be the first take profit here. See here, it's 90 pips, right? First take profit, because this is going to be the first 90% rule. This is going to be our first 90% rule, and then that's going to be our final take profit for this week. But as you can see, our risk to reward ratio is 4 to 2.5. The first one was see, it's 2.95, right? So it's closer to 3, right? So I can just also move it to that point there. See, it's much more better than it's 1:3. We don't take a trade if it's not 1:3 or more. So it should give us the 1:3 or more. And also we should not force the trade to actually give us the 1:3. We have to understand why it gives us to 1:3. As you can see here, it makes sense because we still have this big candlestick here, so the market can push up until it gets there. So yeah, that's it, friends. That's our analysis for this week. Remember, I love hearing from you. I love reading your comments about what you think about this week. So please make sure that you hit me up, send me a comment, send me your thoughts, and let me know about what you took from this week's analysis. Coincidentally, this is the kind of a content I cover in the Launch Your FX course. The website will be fully live on the 30th of May, that is this year, 2021. For now, we are still taking pre-orders, which gives you $30 off when the course is live. That means that when the course is live, when you order the course there, you will get $30 off the initial amount, right? So make sure that you book that order for yourself by going to the website, click contact, and fill in your info, and then fill in Loan Trade FX 30 under the subject there, and then you submit. And then later on, when the course is fully live, I'll send you an email so that you can also make that order and get the discount that I have given you. So from me, Sibusiso, I wish you a profitable week. Cheers.